What if everything we thought we knew about the origins of human civilization was profoundly mistaken? What if the narratives meticulously constructed by generations of historians and archaeologists, the very bedrock of our understanding of the ancient past, are merely convenient fictions, unable to reconcile with a growing body of evidence that challenges our most fundamental assumptions? For centuries, we have been taught a linear progression of human development, from primitive hunter-gatherers slowly advancing to agriculture, then rudimentary settlements, eventually evolving into complex societies with monumental architecture and sophisticated knowledge. This story, while comforting in its simplicity, struggles to account for anomalies, for structures and artifacts that defy the capabilities attributed to their supposed creators, for a wisdom that appears to predate the very dawn of what we label as civilization. Imagine a world where advanced knowledge was not gradually accumulated, but perhaps inherited or rediscovered, or even imparted by an intelligence beyond our current comprehension. A world where the builders of the most awe-inspiring ancient sites possessed tools, techniques, and an understanding of the cosmos that we are only now beginning to grasp with our most advanced technologies. The very fabric of time, as we perceive it, seems to ripple and tear when confronted with these enduring enigmas. These are not mere curiosities. They are profound questions etched in stone, buried beneath the earth, and scattered across the desolate landscapes of our planet, whispering tales of a forgotten era, a time before time, perhaps a different kind of humanity. Mainstream archaeology, bound by its established paradigms, often dismisses these irregularities, attempting to force them into pre-existing molds, or simply labeling them as cultic or ritualistic when explanation fails. Yet, the evidence persists, stubborn and undeniable. Massive stones moved impossible distances, cut with impossible precision, placed in alignments that speak of astronomical understanding far beyond what simple farmers could possess. Structures designed to withstand millennia, bearing marks of a technology that seems alien to their supposed epoch. Were these achievements the result of immense, brute force labor from a primitive society? Or do they hint at an entirely different kind of engineering, a forgotten science, a lost chapter in the human story? We are not merely observing ruins. We are confronting an unanswered question, a profound mystery that echoes through the ages. These are not just stones. They are silent witnesses to a past that refuses to be neatly categorized, a past that demands a reevaluation of everything we believe about our origins. Could it be that before the great floods, before the ice sheets retreated, before the conventional timeline of civilization began, there existed a highly advanced culture, perhaps even a global one, whose achievements were so vast, so profound, that their remnants continue to confound us today? A civilization, or perhaps multiple civilizations, whose legacy was shattered by cataclysm, leaving behind only tantalizing clues, like fragments of a magnificent dream? This journey will take us across continents, to desolate plains and hidden jungles, to soaring mountains and submerged depths, to places where the official story falters, where the scientific consensus crumbles under the weight of perplexing evidence. We will explore 12 archaeological mysteries that continue to baffle and challenge mainstream science, anomalies that refuse to be explained away by simple theories. These are the forgotten wonders, the impossible constructions, the silent whispers from an antiquity far more complex and enigmatic than we have ever dared to imagine. Let us begin our exploration into the depths of a past obscured, a history waiting to be rewritten. Our first journey takes us to the windswept plains of southeastern Turkey, to a site known as Göbekli Tepe. Here, amidst the rolling hills, a discovery was made that irrevocably shattered the established timeline of human civilization. Before its excavation began in the mid-1990s, the prevailing understanding was that monumental architecture, complex religious structures, and organized society only emerged after the development of agriculture. Hunter-gatherers were considered too nomadic, too focused on subsistence, to engage in such grand collective endeavors. Göbekli Tepe violently contradicts this narrative. dating back approximately 11,600 years. To the pre-pottery Neolithic period, Göbekli Tepe is a colossal hilltop sanctuary composed of numerous massive, circular, and oval enclosures. Each enclosure features gigantic T-shaped pillars, some reaching up to 18 feet in height and weighing up to 20 tons. These pillars are intricately carved with precise depictions of animals: wild boars, foxes, lions, birds, snakes, scorpions, and various insects, many of which are extinct in the region today. What makes this site so profoundly mysterious is its age. It predates Stonehenge by about 6,000 years and the Great Pyramids of Giza by 7,000 years. It was constructed at a time when humanity was supposedly just emerging from the Stone Age, with no knowledge of metal tools, no agriculture, no settled villages, and no advanced social hierarchy capable of organizing such a massive undertaking. The sheer scale of the construction is staggering. Imagine a community of hunter-gatherers without beasts of burden, without metal tools, quarrying, shaping, and then transporting these multi-ton monoliths over significant distances and finally erecting them with incredible precision. How was such a feat accomplished? What motivated these supposedly primitive people to dedicate such immense resources and labor to building a complex ceremonial site rather than focusing solely on survival? The accepted archaeological models simply cannot adequately explain the existence of Göbekli Tepe at this early date. It pushes back the timeline for organized religion, monumental architecture, and sophisticated artistry by thousands of years. Furthermore, there is the enigma of its purpose and eventual burial. After centuries of apparent use, perhaps spanning several thousand years, the entire site was deliberately and painstakingly buried under tons of earth and rubble. It was not abandoned and left to decay. It was intentionally interred, preserved, as if hidden from some future gaze or for some sacred reason we can only guess at. Why would such an advanced, labor-intensive complex be so thoroughly concealed? Was it to protect it from impending catastrophe, to consecrate it, or to hide a knowledge deemed too dangerous or profound for future generations? The official explanations often lean towards ritualistic burial, but this explanation feels insufficient to fully grasp the magnitude of the effort involved in its concealment. The animal iconography itself presents further questions. Many of the carvings are predatory, fierce creatures depicted with startling realism and artistic skill. Some theories suggest a connection to astronomical observations, a mapping of constellations, or even a sophisticated narrative relating to cosmic events or cycles unknown to us. The precise orientation of the enclosures and pillars hints at a deliberate design, perhaps reflecting an understanding of the solstices or equinoxes, an astronomical knowledge far more advanced than conventionally attributed to hunter-gatherers. Were these figures totems or symbols of a more profound cosmological understanding that has been lost to time? The implications of Göbekli Tepe are enormous. It suggests that complex social organization and monumental construction did not follow the advent of agriculture, but perhaps preceded it or even motivated it. Did the need to feed large numbers of workers engaged in projects like Göbekli Tepe spur the development of organized farming? This reversal of cause and effect challenges the very foundation of evolutionary anthropology. It forces us to confront the possibility that hunter-gatherers were far more sophisticated, far more capable of abstract thought, spiritual devotion, and collective organization than previously imagined. Could Göbekli Tepe be a surviving testament to a widespread yet lost spiritual or scientific tradition that flourished globally before the Younger Dryas impact event, a cataclysm that wiped out much of humanity and its knowledge around 12,900 to 11,700 years ago? The discovery of Göbekli Tepe demands that we reconsider the entire trajectory of human development. It is a stone-etched riddle that mainstream science still struggles to place within its established framework. From the ancient plains of Anatolia, we journey to the desolate, windswept Altiplano of Bolivia, to the ruins of Pumapunku, a complex nestled near the larger site of Tiwanaku. Here, at an altitude of nearly 13,000 feet, lie the remains of a truly astonishing and baffling structure, predating the Inca Empire by perhaps a millennium or more. Pumapunku is not merely old, it is a marvel of precision engineering that seems utterly impossible for its supposed builders, a pre-Incan civilization known as the Tiwanaku culture. What immediately strikes any observer at Pumapunku is the extraordinary stonework. The ruins are characterized by massive blocks of red sandstone and andesite, some weighing over 100 tons, cut with such incredible precision that they fit together like pieces of a complex three-dimensional puzzle without the use of mortar. Many of these blocks feature perfectly straight lines, uniform angles, and smooth surfaces, achieved on incredibly hard stone. There are perfectly drilled holes, intricate channels, and precisely cut notches and grooves, all created with a level of accuracy that rivals modern industrial machining. Some blocks possess internal angles that are perfectly square, others are cut with intricate L shapes and I shapes designed to interlock with adjacent blocks, creating a seismic-resistant architecture that would be challenging even for today's engineers. The quarry sites for the red sandstone are located several miles away, while the andesite, and even harder stone, was sourced from quarries on the other side of Lake Titicaca, approximately 60 miles distant. How were these colossal blocks, weighing up to 130 tons, transported across such challenging terrain and then across a vast body of water, using only the primitive tools and methods attributed to the Tiwanaku people? Conventional explanations involve rollers, ropes, and vast amounts of human labor. Yet, the sheer scale and difficulty of moving such immense weights, especially the hard andesite, across water and then uphill to the site, remain a profound logistical challenge for these theories. Furthermore, the level of precision seen in the cuts and angles is particularly perplexing. The Tiwanaku culture is thought to have possessed only bronze tools and simple stone implements. Bronze is a relatively soft metal, incapable of producing the razor-sharp, perfectly flat surfaces and intricate geometrical shapes observed on the andesite blocks. Even with modern steel tools, achieving such accuracy on hard stone requires considerable effort and sophisticated technology. The uniform drill holes, some perfectly cylindrical and others conical, suggest the use of a drilling method far beyond what is conventionally understood for the period. Some archaeologists have proposed abrasion with sand and water, but this does not account for the perfectly sharp edges, the perfectly flat surfaces, and the incredible speed and uniformity implied by the extent of the work. The H-blocks are perhaps the most famous and enigmatic elements of Pumapunku. These are highly standardized, intricately shaped blocks, often found shattered, resembling components of a vast complex machine or a prefabricated building system. Their identical dimensions and complex internal angles suggest they were mass-produced using a template, or even by some form of automated cutting process. What kind of tools could create such uniform, complex forms on incredibly hard stone thousands of years ago? And for what purpose were these highly specific, almost modular components designed? Mainstream archaeology suggests they were purely decorative or served some unknown ritualistic function, yet their precision and uniformity speak of a functional design, a purpose beyond mere aesthetics. The destruction of Pumapunku also raises questions. The site appears to have been shattered by some immense force, with massive blocks scattered and overturned as if by an unprecedented cataclysm. Some theories suggest a massive earthquake, while others point to a sudden flooding or even a deliberate dismantling. However, the sheer disarray and the way some of the colossal stones are fractured suggest a powerful event far beyond typical seismic activity, leaving a lingering mystery about how this magnificent structure came to its end. Pumapunku challenges our understanding of ancient engineering, metallurgy, and the capabilities of pre-Columbian cultures. It presents evidence of a civilization with an astonishing mastery of stonework, geometry, and possibly even an advanced understanding of earthquake-resistant construction, all without the supposed prerequisites of metallurgy, writing, or the wheel. Were the Tiwanaku people truly responsible for every aspect of this construction with only primitive tools? Or did they inherit or rediscover technologies from a much older, perhaps forgotten civilization? The ruins of Pumapunku stand as a testament to an inexplicable brilliance, a silent, shattered monument to a lost chapter of technological sophistication that mainstream science has yet to fully explain. Our journey continues to the ancient lands of Baalbek in modern-day Lebanon, a site of astonishing scale and baffling construction. Here, beneath the layers of Roman, Greek, and earlier structures, lies a foundation of megalithic stones, so immense, so perfectly cut, and so precisely placed that they defy our understanding of ancient engineering and logistics. The Romans themselves, prodigious builders, were merely building upon an already existing platform of unprecedented scale, a platform whose origins remain shrouded in deep mystery. The most famous features of Baalbek are the three colossal stones known as the trilithon. These blocks, part of the podium of the Roman Temple of Jupiter, each measure approximately 64 feet long, 14 feet high, and 12 feet thick. Each weighs an estimated 800 to 1,000 tons. To put this into perspective, these individual stones are heavier than any single component that modern construction equipment, short of specialized industrial heavy lift cranes, can routinely move. Yet, they are not merely present, they are meticulously placed, elevated several feet above the ground, and fit together with such precision that a knife blade cannot be inserted between them. Adding to this enigma is the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, or the Hajar al-Hibla, located in a nearby quarry. This single block of limestone, still partially attached to the bedrock, measures approximately 69 feet long, 16 feet wide, and 13 feet high, weighing an estimated 100 to 1,200 tons. Even more extraordinary is a newer discovery in the same quarry, an even larger block, measuring nearly 65 feet in length, 19.6 feet wide, and 18 feet high, weighing an estimated 850 tons. These are the largest quarried stones known to humanity. The question is not just how they were cut, but how the trilithon stones were transported from this quarry and then lifted into place many feet above the earth. Mainstream explanations for moving such enormous weights often invoke the use of legions of workers, ramps, rollers, and levers. However, the sheer weight of these stones, coupled with the precision of their placement, presents insurmountable obstacles for these conventional methods. Imagine thousands of men pulling on ropes. Even if such a force could move the stone, controlling its trajectory, preventing it from cracking under its own immense pressure, and then precisely lowering it into a perfectly flush position, would be a logistical nightmare of unparalleled proportions. The lack of any archaeological evidence for such ramps, earthworks, or complex lifting mechanisms, especially ones capable of handling such unprecedented loads, further complicates the official narrative. The level of cutting and finishing on these massive blocks is also a significant mystery. The limestone is not as hard as the andesite of Pumapunku, but achieving such smooth, flat surfaces and perfect right angles on blocks of this size without modern tools is a formidable challenge. The uniformity of the cut suggests a sophisticated understanding of geometry and a capability for precise stone dressing that goes far beyond simple chisels and mallets. How were such immense forces controlled to shape these monoliths, and how was such accuracy maintained across their vast surfaces? Perhaps the most perplexing aspect is the why. Why build with stones of such an unparalleled size? The Romans, for all their engineering prowess, utilized much smaller blocks for their structures, even their most impressive temples. To construct a foundation with such massive stones, only to build a smaller, though still grand temple on top, seems like an over-engineering of epic proportions. It suggests that the original builders, whoever they were, possessed not only the technology but also the reason to build on such an incredible scale. Was it for structural integrity in a seismically active zone? Or was it to create a platform for something truly enormous, something that no longer exists? Local legends and ancient texts, such as those by Philo of Byblos, attribute the construction of the original Baalbek platform to giants, or to the progeny of Cain, or even to the god Baal himself building a tower after the Great Flood. While mythological, These tales reflect a deep-seated recognition among ancient peoples that these structures could not have been built by ordinary men with ordinary means. Baalbek stands as an enduring monument to a forgotten technology, a lost knowledge of megalithic construction that appears to transcend the capabilities of any known ancient civilization. Were the original builders of Baalbek human, or something else entirely, possessing a power and engineering skill we can only marvel at? Mainstream science grapples with Baalbek, offering explanations that feel increasingly inadequate against the backdrop of such extraordinary evidence. Continuing our exploration of impossible megalithic constructions, we turn our attention to the ancient Inca capital of Cusco, Peru, and its surrounding fortress of Sacsayhuaman. Perched on a steep hill overlooking the city, Sacsayhuaman is a marvel of ancient engineering and a profound archaeological mystery. While often attributed to the Inca Empire, the precise construction methods and the sheer scale of the stones used here challenge even the impressive capabilities of Inca builders, suggesting a much older, possibly pre-Inca, origin for its most perplexing features. Sacsayhuaman is renowned for its massive interlocking walls, built from colossal stones weighing many tons, some exceeding 100 tons. What makes these walls extraordinary is their polygonal masonry. Unlike the regular rectangular blocks found in many ancient structures, the stones at Sacsayhuaman are irregularly shaped with multiple angles and curved surfaces. Yet, they fit together with such astonishing precision that not even a single sheet of paper can be inserted between them. This is achieved without the use of mortar, making the walls remarkably earthquake-resistant, a crucial feature in a seismically active region. The challenge of this construction cannot be overstated. Imagine quarrying irregularly shaped boulders, transporting them, and then custom-fitting each individual stone against its neighbors in a three-dimensional puzzle of immense scale. The internal and external angles of these stones are not uniform. Each one is unique, yet each is perfectly matched. How did the ancient builders achieve such incredible precision with such irregular shapes on such a monumental scale? The traditional explanation involves shaping the stones directly at the site, using harder stones for pounding and grinding, and then meticulously moving and adjusting them. However, achieving such tight tolerances and smooth, perfectly matched surfaces on massive multi-ton blocks with primitive tools remains a profound enigma. The sheer size of some of the stones is also baffling. The largest stone at Sacsayhuaman is approximately 28 feet high and weighs an estimated 125 tons. How were these colossal blocks moved up the steep hillside, sometimes from quarries miles away, and then lifted into position? Conventional theories involve the use of ramps, rollers, and hundreds, if not thousands, of workers. Yet, the topography of the site and the immense weight of the stones make such an undertaking appear logistically unfeasible. The ramps required would have been enormous structures themselves, requiring more material and labor than the walls they served to build, and no evidence of such immense earthworks has been found. The purpose of Sacsayhuaman also sparks debate. While commonly described as a fortress, its layout and design suggest a more complex function. Some theories propose it was a temple, an astronomical observatory, or even a ceremonial center, given its commanding view and alignment with celestial events. The zigzagged, battlements-like walls resemble a serpent or a puma, adding to the mystique of its design. Could it have served multiple purposes? Its sheer scale and intricate construction hinting at a spiritual significance intertwined with defensive capabilities? The precision with which these massive stones were cut and fitted suggests a sophisticated knowledge of geometry, engineering, and perhaps even a form of lost technology for shaping and moving stone. The consistent, tight fit, even on the interior faces of the blocks that are not visible, indicates a level of mastery that goes beyond simple trial and error. Was this knowledge developed independently by the Inca, or were they inheriting a tradition, perhaps even rebuilding upon the ruins of an older, more advanced civilization that had already laid the foundation of this incredible site? The question of pre-Inca megalithic constructions in the Andes is a recurring theme, suggesting a continuum of sophisticated builders whose origins are lost to time. Sacsayhuaman, with its cyclopean walls and impossibly fitted stones, stands as a testament to an architectural prowess that challenges the mainstream narrative of ancient human capabilities. It forces us to confront the possibility that the builders possessed not only an unparalleled understanding of construction, but also perhaps tools and techniques that we have yet to rediscover. How did they achieve such perfection without modern machinery? The answers remain elusive, embedded within the silent monumental stones themselves, continually questioning our understanding of the true origins of high civilization in the Andes. We now turn our attention to what is arguably the most famous and iconic ancient structure on Earth, the Great Pyramid of Giza. While much has been written and theorized about this marvel, and mainstream archaeology generally adheres to a well-defined explanation for its construction, the sheer scale, precision, and certain enigmatic features continue to defy easy, comprehensive answers, leaving profound questions unanswered. It is the only remaining wonder of the ancient world, and for good reason. Conventionally, the Great Pyramid, attributed to Pharaoh Khufu, is said to have been built over a period of 10 to 20 years, around 2580–2560 BC, using the labor of tens of thousands of skilled workers and slaves, employing ramps, rollers, and simple copper tools. Yet, when one examines the details, the elegance of this explanation begins to fray. The pyramid consists of an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, mostly limestone, but with a significant amount of much harder granite used for the internal chambers and passages. These blocks range in weight from 2.5 tons to an astonishing 80 tons for the granite sarcophagus in the king's chamber and the massive ceiling blocks above it. Consider the precision. The pyramid is aligned almost perfectly with true north, to within 3/60ths of a degree. Its four sides are almost perfectly equal in length, varying by only a few inches over 750 feet. The base is also incredibly level, to within an inch over its entire massive footprint. The angles of the sides are nearly perfect, leading to the apex. Achieving such accuracy over such a vast structure without modern surveying equipment, optical instruments, or even a consistent understanding of trigonometry is a feat that stuns even modern engineers. How was this level of geodetic and astronomical precision achieved by a society that supposedly only had basic astronomical observation and rudimentary tools? The transportation and placement of the stones also present immense challenges to the conventional narrative. The limestone blocks were primarily quarried from a site across the Nile, while the harder granite, particularly for the king's chamber, was brought from Aswan, over 500 miles away. Moving hundreds of thousands of multi-ton blocks, some weighing upwards of 80 tons, over such distances and then lifting them hundreds of feet into the air, all within a few decades, demands a logistical and technological capacity that strains credulity. The internal chambers, passages, and shafts are equally enigmatic. The king's chamber, constructed entirely of solid granite blocks, is a marvel in itself. The ceiling of this chamber is composed of 9 massive granite slabs, weighing up to 80 tons each, resting on a series of 5 relieving chambers, designed to distribute the immense weight of the pyramid above. The precision with which these granite blocks are fitted, sometimes so tightly that a razor blade cannot penetrate the joints, suggests a level of stone masonry that far exceeds what is attributed to the copper tools of the Old Kingdom Egyptians. Copper is soft. It quickly dulls against granite. How were such precise cuts and smooth surfaces achieved on such hard stone? The air shafts or star shafts leading from the king's and queen's chambers also present a mystery. For centuries, they were believed to be ventilation shafts, but their narrowness, sharp bends, and the fact that they do not extend to the exterior surface challenge this interpretation. Instead, their precise astronomical alignments, pointing to specific stars like Thuban, then the North Star, and Sirius, suggest a profound astronomical or spiritual purpose. What kind of instruments did the ancient Egyptians possess to calculate and execute such precise alignments over such vast distances within the pyramid's massive structure? The notion that they were built primarily as tombs also faces scrutiny. No pharaoh's body has ever been found within the Great Pyramid, and the sarcophagus in the king's chamber, too large to have been moved in after construction, is a stark, empty granite box lacking any inscriptions or decoration. Perhaps the most persistent challenge to the conventional story is the sheer speed of construction it implies. If 2.3 million blocks were laid in 20 years, it would mean placing approximately 12 blocks every hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 2 decades. This leaves no time for quarrying, transporting, cutting, or the intricate surveying and planning involved. Such a pace seems utterly impossible without advanced machinery or a completely different approach to construction. The ramp theory, while plausible for smaller structures, struggles to explain how a ramp system could be built and dismantled efficiently for a pyramid of this scale, without leaving significant archaeological evidence of its existence. The Great Pyramid, therefore, transcends being merely a tomb or a monument to a pharaoh. It stands as a testament to an astronomical, mathematical, and engineering knowledge that appears far in excess of the official narrative. Was this an indigenous development of extraordinary genius, or does it hint at a much older tradition of knowledge, perhaps inherited from a lost civilization that predated the dynastic Egyptians, a tradition they sought to replicate or preserve? The precise geometry of the pyramid, its relationship to fundamental constants, and its remarkable alignment with planetary and stellar phenomena lead many to question if it was not merely a tomb, but a repository of ancient wisdom, a giant observatory, or even a power generator. The Great Pyramid continues to guard secrets, silent in its majesty, prompting us to look beyond the surface of accepted history. Our exploration now descends into the depths of the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Yonaguni Island in Japan, where a submerged monolithic structure known as the Yonaguni Monument rests. This controversial site, discovered in 1986, is one of the most enigmatic underwater archaeological finds, challenging our understanding of ancient human capabilities and the geological timeline. The Yonaguni Monument is a massive sandstone formation, approximately 500 feet long and 130 feet wide, resembling a terraced pyramid or a colossal stepped temple. Its most striking features are its remarkably flat platforms, straight edges, 90-degree angles, parallel lines, sharp corners, and what appear to be carved stairs, intricate terraces, and even what some interpret as roads and animal carvings. The scale and precision of these features lead many to believe it is an artificial structure, a sunken city, or at least a heavily modified natural formation. The controversy centers on whether it is natural or man-made. Geologists who argue for a natural origin point to the fact that the monument is composed of sandstone, which is prone to fracturing along straight lines and planes due to tectonic activity and erosion. They suggest that natural processes of faulting, earthquakes, and wave erosion could create the angular, seemingly carved features observed. Some geologists acknowledge the unusual regularity, but still maintain that nature, through specific geological conditions, could be the sculptor. However, those who argue for an artificial or modified origin highlight several key features that are difficult to explain solely by natural processes. The perfectly rectangular depressions, the exact 90-degree corners, the step-like terraces that appear meticulously cut, and particularly the two perfectly round holes, about 2 feet in diameter, which seem too precise to be formed by random erosion. There is also a distinct, almost perfectly triangular indentation and a separate, sharp, L-shaped incision, features that are highly suggestive of deliberate tooling. Furthermore, the presence of what appears to be a large carved face and several small carved figures resembling animals or symbols adds to the compelling argument for human intervention. If the Yonaguni Monument is indeed artificial or significantly modified by human hands, its age presents a profound challenge to established history. The structure is currently submerged at a depth that indicates it must have been above sea level at the end of the last ice age, when global sea levels were much lower. This would place its construction or modification somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 BC, or even earlier, perhaps 12,000 years ago. This dating predates the conventional timeline for complex human civilization and monumental architecture by thousands of years, placing it in a period when humanity was supposedly still living in caves and forming rudimentary settlements. Who possessed the technology and organizational capacity to quarry, cut, and construct such a massive, precise structure, or even significantly modify such a natural formation at a time when we believe humanity was just beginning its journey out of the Stone Age? This would place the Yonaguni monument in a similar chronological realm as Göbekli Tepe, suggesting the existence of highly advanced cultures that flourished before the generally accepted dawn of civilization, before the catastrophic Younger Dryas impact event. The implications of an artificial Yonaguni monument are immense. It would signify a lost civilization, a highly sophisticated maritime culture, capable of monumental engineering in an epoch we consider prehistoric. It would force a radical reevaluation of the human story, suggesting that our ancestors possessed advanced knowledge and capabilities far earlier than currently acknowledged. The site remains a powerful enigma, perpetually contested yet continually challenging our limited perception of humanity's ancient past, a silent, submerged witness to a history that may be far stranger and more complex than we can currently imagine. Leaving the mysteries of the deep, we ascend to the arid plains of Peru, where the vast enigmatic Nazca lines scar the desert floor. These geoglyphs etched into the high plateau cover an area of approximately 170 square miles and depict an astonishing array of designs, perfectly straight lines, geometric shapes, and massive figures of animals, birds, and anthropomorphic beings. Created by the Nazca culture between 500 BC and 500 AD, their existence and purpose remain one of archaeology's most enduring and perplexing mysteries. The scale of the Nazca lines is immense. Some of the animal figures, such as the hummingbird, the spider, the monkey, and the condor, stretch for hundreds of feet across the desert. Many of the lines run for miles, maintaining remarkable straightness over varying terrain. The sheer size of these drawings is such that they can only be fully appreciated from an aerial perspective. This presents one of the most significant challenges to mainstream explanation. How could a people, without the ability to fly, conceptualize and execute such monumental designs that are only visible from above? The method of their creation is generally understood. The Nazca people removed the reddish-brown iron oxide-coated rocks and pebbles from the desert surface, exposing the lighter-colored soil beneath. The edges of the lines were then marked with stones, creating a contrast that made the designs visible. The depth of the lines is shallow, typically 10 to 15 centimeters, 4 to 6 inches. What is baffling is not just how they scraped the lines, but how they maintained such astonishing precision, scale, and proportion across vast, uneven stretches of land without an elevated vantage point or modern surveying equipment. The prevailing archaeological theory suggests the Nazca used simple tools and techniques. They might have used ropes, stakes, and grids to scale up smaller designs onto the vast landscape. By creating small models and then meticulously measuring and transposing them, they could have achieved the precision seen. However, even with these proposed methods, the accuracy of the complex geometric figures and the flawless straightness of lines extending for miles across hills and valleys still seems to demand a level of surveying and planning that pushes the boundaries of their known technological capabilities. How did they achieve such consistent alignment over varying topography without sightlines? The purpose of the Nazca lines remains perhaps the greatest enigma. Numerous theories have been proposed, none entirely conclusive. Some suggest they were astronomical calendars, aligning with celestial events or tracking the movements of the sun, moon, and stars, possibly aiding in agricultural cycles. Others believe they were ritual pathways or ceremonial pilgrimage routes, with the figures perhaps representing deities or spiritual entities. Some propose they were part of a vast hydrological system, mapping underground water sources in the arid region or serving as offerings to water gods. Still others suggest a connection to shamanic practices, allowing shamans to fly in altered states and to interact with the spiritual world depicted below. The fact that the designs are best viewed from the air has led to more speculative, yet compelling, alternative theories. Could they have been designed as signals or messages to non-human entities, to sky gods, or to visitors from another world? The idea that they were constructed for eyes other than human, or at least for an ability to see from above that the Nazca themselves did not possess, persists in popular culture and challenges the more conventional explanations. The question remains, if they were not meant for viewing from the air, then why create them on such a scale that makes them effectively invisible at ground level, diminishing their immediate impact for ground-based rituals? The Nazca lines are not merely ancient drawings, they are a profound statement, an immense work of art and engineering that speaks of a sophisticated, organized society with a deep connection to their environment and perhaps to the cosmos. They defy easy categorization and continue to prompt questions about human motivation, ingenuity, and the potential for lost knowledge or even external influences. The Nazca lines are a silent, desert-etched query, awaiting an answer that mainstream science has yet to fully provide. They stand as a testament to the inexplicable capacity of ancient peoples to create enduring mysteries that transcend our current understanding. Yet, the Nazca lines are but one facet of a grander enigma, a thread in a tapestry woven with impossible structures and forgotten knowledge that spans the globe. Perhaps no site challenges the established timeline of human development more profoundly than Göbekli Tepe, nestled in the desolate plains of southeastern Turkey. Discovered in the mid-1990s and meticulously excavated since, this site has forced a radical reevaluation of when and how complex human societies first emerged. Before Göbekli Tepe, the consensus held that monumental architecture and organized religion were products of settled agricultural communities, a societal leap enabled by the stability and surplus of farming. Hunter-gatherers, by definition, were thought to be too nomadic, too focused on subsistence to undertake such massive coordinated projects. Göbekli Tepe shatters this premise, dating back approximately 12,000 years to a period long before the widespread adoption of agriculture. Göbekli Tepe is a sprawling complex of massive T-shaped megalithic pillars arranged in circular enclosures. These pillars, some reaching over 16 feet in height and weighing up to 20 tons, are not merely raw stones. They are meticulously carved with intricate reliefs of animals: venomous scorpions, slithering snakes, fierce boars, watchful birds, and enigmatic abstract symbols. These carvings are not crude or primitive. They display an astonishing degree of artistic sophistication and anatomical accuracy, hinting at a developed symbolic language and a complex cosmology among its creators. The sheer scale of the undertaking is staggering. To quarry, transport, carve, and erect hundreds of such colossal stones without metal tools, without beast of burden, and without the organizational structures typically associated with settled civilizations, pushes the boundaries of our understanding of late Stone Age capabilities. The implications are profound. If hunter-gatherers, prior to the agricultural revolution, were capable of such monumental feats of engineering, artistry, and social organization, then the entire narrative of human progress needs to be rewritten. Was it the spiritual and organizational needs of sites like Göbekli Tepe that preceded and perhaps drove the development of agriculture rather than the other way around? Were these sites gathering places, spiritual centers that drew scattered groups together, ultimately necessitating new ways to feed and sustain larger populations? The prevailing scientific explanation struggles to fully account for the precision, the sheer effort, and the purpose behind such a colossal undertaking by people conventionally considered primitive. Furthermore, the site appears to have been deliberately buried around 10,000 years ago, methodically covered with earth and rubble, as if to preserve it or perhaps to seal away its secrets. Why would such an extraordinary place, built with such immense effort, be intentionally interred only to be rediscovered millennia later? Göbekli Tepe is not merely an archaeological site. It is a profound question etched in stone, defying the comfortable linearity of established history and demanding a deeper inquiry into the true origins of human civilization and the depth of ancient human ingenuity. It hints at a level of sophistication among early humans that we are only just beginning to comprehend, a sophistication that mainstream science is still grappling to integrate into its comprehensive models of our past. Moving across continents and millennia, we encounter yet another testament to an inexplicable mastery of megalithic construction, the enigmatic foundations of Baalbek in modern-day Lebanon. Here, beneath the magnificent Roman temples of Jupiter, Bacchus, and Venus, lies a platform of truly colossal stones that dwarf anything the Romans were known to construct. The most famous of these are the three blocks forming the western retaining wall of the Temple of Jupiter, collectively known as the Trilithon. Each of these limestone behemoths measures approximately 63 to 65 feet in length, 14 feet in height, and 12 feet in depth. Their individual weight is estimated to be over 800 tons, the equivalent of more than 100 average-sized cars. The precision with which these gargantuan stones are cut and fitted, with barely a hair's breadth between them, speaks of an engineering skill that baffles modern experts, even with our advanced machinery. Adding to the mystery, in a nearby quarry less than a mile away, lies another unfinished block, known as the Hajar al-Hibla, or the Stone of the Pregnant Woman. This single block of limestone is even larger, measuring over 68 feet long and estimated to weigh well over 1,000 tons. It remains partially attached to the bedrock, abandoned for reasons unknown, yet it serves as compelling evidence that the builders of Baalbek intended to use even larger stones than those already in place. The question inevitably arises: how were these stones quarried, transported over rough terrain, lifted, and precisely placed into their current positions? Conventional archaeological theories attribute the entire complex, including the immense foundation, to the Roman Empire. However, while Roman engineering was formidable, their known construction methods and cranes, even the largest ones, would have been incapable of handling blocks of such immense weight. The largest Roman cranes could lift perhaps 50-60 tons, a fraction of what was required for the Trilithon. Could thousands of laborers employing an array of levers, rollers, and ramps have moved these stones? While theoretically possible, the sheer logistical complexity and the precision required for placement would be extraordinary, especially without evidence of the advanced tools or organization that such an undertaking would demand. Furthermore, the foundations themselves bear no characteristic Roman masonry styles. They are distinct, suggesting a much older origin upon which the Romans later built their temples, perhaps recognizing the inherent stability and monumental power of the existing platform. Was Baalbek, a site already imbued with ancient significance, a powerful place whose original builders possessed a technology now lost to history? The idea that these enormous blocks were manipulated by an unknown civilization, perhaps thousands of years before the Romans, using methods we cannot fathom, is a haunting possibility that lingers in the shadows of the official narrative. The colossal stones of Baalbek stand as a silent yet deafening challenge to our understanding of ancient engineering, urging us to question the true limits of what ancient humans were capable of, or perhaps what knowledge they might have possessed from an even more distant, unrecorded past. Their very existence forces us to confront the possibility that the technological prowess of antiquity has been severely underestimated, or that some advancements have simply vanished from the annals of time, only to resurface as inexplicable anomalies. Far from the monumental stone structures of land, another profound mystery lies submerged beneath the ocean waves off the coast of Yonaguni Island in Japan. Discovered in 1986 by a local diver, the Yonaguni Monument is a colossal submerged rock formation that has ignited fierce debate within the scientific and archaeological communities. What appears to be a massive stepped pyramid or complex of structures lies at depths ranging from 5 to 40 meters. Its most striking features include immense flat platforms, straight walls, precise right angles, carved steps, paved streets, and even what some interpret as massive animal-like carvings and sculpted features that strongly suggest human manipulation. The main structure alone is estimated to be 165 feet long and 65 feet high. Geologists generally attribute the formation to natural erosion, arguing that the intricate shapes are simply the result of millennia of tectonic activity, currents, and natural fracturing of the sandstone bedrock. They point to similar natural formations found elsewhere. However, proponents of its artificial origin highlight specific characteristics that seem to defy natural explanation. The presence of perfectly straight edges, sharp corners, and parallel structures, coupled with what appear to be meticulously cut terraces and drainage channels, creates a powerful visual argument for design rather than chance. Some features, such as deep circular boreholes and intricate carvings that resemble ancient symbols, are particularly difficult to reconcile with purely natural processes. Could nature truly carve such geometric regularity on such a grand scale with such consistent patterns? If the Yonaguni monument is indeed man-made, its implications are monumental. Geological evidence suggests that this structure would have been submerged between 8,000 to 10,000 years ago, when sea levels were significantly lower during the last ice age. This timeline places its construction far back into a period when human civilization, according to mainstream archaeology, was still in its early stages of development, long before any known culture in the region possessed the technology or organizational capacity to undertake such massive undersea construction. It would necessitate the existence of a highly advanced pre-glacial civilization capable of engineering on an immense scale, a civilization whose very existence remains unrecorded and whose fate was to be swallowed by the rising oceans. The thought that an entire ancient metropolis could lie hidden beneath the waves, a silent testament to a lost golden age, challenges the very foundations of our understanding of early human history and technological progression. The debate surrounding Yonaguni is fierce precisely because it forces us to confront the possibility of a civilization lost to time, a culture of profound ingenuity that existed and vanished without a trace, leaving behind only these enigmatic, submerged ruins. Was it a natural wonder that merely mimics human artistry? Or is it a forgotten monument, a submerged city that speaks of a time before recorded history when human capabilities far exceeded our current estimations? The refusal of many mainstream academics to fully investigate or acknowledge the artificial hypothesis for Yonaguni highlights the inherent conservatism of science when faced with evidence that fundamentally disrupts established paradigms. Yet, the questions persist, rising like bubbles from the depths. If natural, why such uncanny precision? If artificial, then who were these forgotten builders? And what other secrets do the ocean depths still hold about our true past? The Yonaguni monument remains a tantalizing glimpse into a potential prehistoric era of advanced human endeavor, a stark reminder that our understanding of the ancient world is perhaps far from complete, and that some of the greatest mysteries may lie hidden, awaiting a more open-minded inquiry. It challenges us to look beyond the comfortable shores of accepted history and peer into the dark, uncharted waters of deep time, where the narrative of human origins may be far more complex and astonishing than we currently dare to imagine. Consider now the enigmatic phenomenon of the Longyu Grottos in Zhejiang Province, China. Discovered purely by accident in 1992 by local villagers draining a pond, these grottos are an astonishing network of 36 enormous underground caverns, hand-carved into solid siltstone. Each grotto is immense, typically over 1,000 square meters in area, and soaring to heights of up to 30 meters from floor to ceiling. What sets them apart from other ancient excavations is their incredible uniformity, precision, and the sheer scale of the undertaking. The walls, ceilings, and pillars within each cave are meticulously carved with parallel chisel marks, creating a consistent, textured pattern that covers virtually every surface. This intricate pattern, uniform across all 36 discovered grottos, suggests a highly organized, systematic approach to their construction. Estimates suggest that over 1 million cubic meters of rock were removed to create this underground labyrinth. The precision of the carving is remarkable. Pillars and walls are consistently smooth and straight, and the internal angles often approach perfect right angles. Furthermore, the grottos are intricately interconnected, sometimes through narrow tunnels, indicating a sophisticated understanding of underground spatial planning and structural integrity. There are no historical records or ancient texts that mention the construction of the Longyu grottos. Not a single inscription, not a single artifact has been found within them to provide clues about their creators, their purpose, or the methods used to excavate them. This absolute silence in the historical record for such a monumental project is itself a profound mystery. The prevailing theories for their purpose range from quarries, though the quality of the rock is not exceptional for building, to ancient granaries or even secret military installations. Yet, none of these explanations fully account for the extraordinary level of artistic and engineering precision applied to every surface, nor the complete lack of any accompanying archaeological evidence. Why would such immense effort be expended to carve every wall with intricate parallel lines if the sole purpose was utilitarian storage or quarrying? And how were these subterranean behemoths carved with such consistency and exactitude using only primitive tools? The darkness within the grottos would have necessitated elaborate lighting systems, of which no evidence remains. The removal of such vast quantities of stone and the precise disposal of the spoil also remains unexplained. The Longyu grottos stand as a baffling testament to an unknown ancient Chinese civilization, a silent subterranean world created with incredible skill and effort, yet utterly erased from history. Were they built by a secret society, a lost culture, or perhaps for a purpose so sacred or so politically sensitive that all record of their creation was deliberately suppressed? The very existence of such a massive, technologically sophisticated, yet historically invisible project challenges our understanding of ancient Chinese capabilities and the completeness of its vast historical archives. These caves force us to consider that even in one of the most meticulously documented ancient civilizations, there are vast gaping holes in our knowledge, suggesting that some narratives of the past are far from complete, or that some extraordinary endeavors were simply deemed too sensitive to record. The Longyu grottos are not merely holes in the ground. They are colossal gaps in our historical understanding, awaiting a breakthrough that might one day reveal the true ingenuity and forgotten purpose of their mysterious creators. They are a monument to the unexplained, forcing us to acknowledge that some of the greatest achievements of the past may remain hidden, literally beneath our feet, defying easy explanation and demanding a re-evaluation of what we thought was possible in ancient times. The narrative of inexplicable ancient feats extends to the enigmatic sphere of the crystal skulls. While many of the more famous examples, such as the Mitchell-Hedges skull, have been definitively exposed as modern forgeries, a few remain that present a curious challenge to conventional understanding. Among these, the British Museum's crystal skull, and particularly the Paris skull, now in the Musée du Quai Branly, offer a subtle but persistent mystery. These particular skulls, unlike their more infamous counterparts, are not necessarily deemed modern fakes, but their origins and methods of creation continue to spark debate. The most perplexing aspect of these genuine crystal skulls, carved from a single block of quartz crystal, lies in the apparent precision of their manufacture. Quartz is an incredibly hard material, rating a 7 on the Mohs scale, meaning it is harder than steel. To carve such intricate details, including anatomical features and polished surfaces, would require tools of even greater hardness, such as diamonds, or an incredibly painstaking process of abrasion with fine sand over hundreds, if not thousands, of hours. Ancient Mesoamerican cultures, to whom these skulls are often attributed, possessed neither diamond-tipped tools nor advanced grinding machinery. Their known tools were primarily stone, wood, and rudimentary copper, none of which are suitable for efficiently carving quartz with such intricate detail and achieving such a smooth, polished finish. The problem is not merely one of crude carving. It is the absence of modern tool marks and the presence of what appear to be ancient methods, yet methods that seem insufficient for the task. If they were carved using ancient techniques of abrasion, it would have been an undertaking of immense labor, requiring generations to complete a single skull. Yet, the skulls exhibit a uniform finish that suggests a more efficient, perhaps forgotten, method. The question arises, how did ancient peoples achieve such precision and polish on such an intractable material? Were they indeed the work of painstakingly slow, labor-intensive abrasion, pushing the limits of human patience and endurance to an extraordinary degree? Or does their existence hint at a lost technology for working with hard stones, a method that has eluded modern understanding? Furthermore, the symbolism and purpose of these crystal skulls remain largely unknown. While modern folklore has imbued them with mystical powers, their true significance to the cultures that supposedly created them is lost to time. Were they ceremonial objects, representations of deities, or perhaps tools for some unknown ritualistic purpose? The very ambiguity of their origin and function, coupled with the technical challenge of their creation, places them firmly within the realm of the unexplained. The crystal skulls, even those not tainted by definitive fraud, remind us that the ingenuity of ancient cultures may have extended to crafts and techniques that we still struggle to replicate or fully comprehend, suggesting a deeper, more mysterious understanding of materials and craftsmanship that mainstream science has yet to fully elucidate. They are artifacts that whisper of an ancient patience or an ancient skill that modern science has yet to explain, leaving us with a lingering question about the true capabilities of those who lived in a world far removed from our own, a world whose secrets are only slowly, and sometimes controversially, being unveiled. Yet, the enigma of ancient craftsmanship extends far beyond the intricate shaping of crystalline objects. High in the Bolivian Andes, near the ancient city of Tiahuanaco, lies Pumapunku, a site that arguably presents one of the most perplexing challenges to conventional archaeology. What remains are fragments of what must have been an extraordinary complex, a testament to an engineering prowess that seems utterly impossible for its supposed age. Mainstream explanations attribute its construction to the Tiwanaku culture, dating it to around 500 to 600 AD. However, the sheer scale and precision of its megalithic components lead many to question if this attribution is truly adequate, suggesting instead a much older origin or an influence from a civilization far more advanced than conventionally accepted. Pumapunku is renowned for its highly intricate stonework, featuring massive blocks of red sandstone and diorite that weigh tens of tons, some exceeding 100 tons. What distinguishes these stones is not merely their immense size, but the astounding precision with which they were cut and shaped. Many blocks bear perfectly straight lines, sharp internal and external angles, and incredibly smooth surfaces, some appearing to have been cut with diamond-like precision. Most famously, the site contains numerous H-blocks, complex interlocking stones with precise grooves, channels, and drill holes, designed to fit together like an elaborate colossal puzzle. These features suggest an understanding of geometry, measurement, and stone-cutting techniques that surpasses anything conventionally attributed to ancient South American cultures, or indeed, to any known ancient civilization using only basic tools. How were these dense, hard stones, many of them diorite, which is second only to diamond in hardness, quarried and transported, let alone shaped with such surgical precision? The official narrative suggests the use of basic stone hammers and abrasives, a process that would require an unimaginable amount of time, labor, and an almost superhuman level of accuracy, far exceeding anything observed in documented ancient construction. The perfect right angles, the almost microscopic consistency of the grooves, the utterly flat surfaces spanning large areas, these attributes appear to demand a level of technological sophistication, perhaps even a form of advanced machinery, that simply should not have existed at that time. Were these structures the result of painstaking manual labor over generations, or do they offer a glimpse into a forgotten technology capable of manipulating stone with an efficiency and precision we struggle to replicate today? Pumapunku, therefore, does not merely present a puzzle of ancient engineering. It forces a profound reconsideration of the technological capabilities of humanity's distant past. It stands as a silent, monolithic question mark against the accepted timeline of human development, challenging our understanding of ancient tools, methods, and perhaps even the very origins of advanced knowledge, hinting at secrets buried beneath layers of sediment and skepticism.